because apparently there was an incident between her and Depp in France.
Please describe, if you can, what transpired during this trip. Johnny wanted to start drinking brown alcohol. He had already started drinking champagne. When I returned from the press tour, that's what he was drinking, wine and champagne. On the last night we were on the train, after this was taken, this photo, Johnny and I got in an argument. Johnny slapped me across the face and held me up by the, kind of got a hold of my neck and pushed me up against the wall of the cart, kneeling, half standing, trying to get his arms off my neck, and he was squeezing my neck against the railway car for what felt like a very long time, tying me up against the wall. And I remember looking down at him and trying to get his arms off of my neck. At one point, he ripped the top of my shirt. He rips the shirt off of him and wraps it around my neck. That's how I woke up. The next morning, actually, I woke up with it still around my neck.
Depp also had this to say in regards to his rebuttal examination, because he doesn't actually go into details of this incident in his direct exam, only the rebuttal and the cross exam. So during the cross exam, much was made about this picture that Malcolm Connolly testifies to actually taking, and also the authenticity of this picture. Rottenborn had actually introduced this particular picture.
Mr. Depp, in these pictures that were taken before you got on the train ride for your honeymoon, where you claim that Miss Heard hit you and gave you a black eye, you have the exact same shadow or sunburn or mark under your left eye. The exact same mark, don't you?
That's the, when you get a side light, you see the occipital bone. So that is the exact area.
Yep. And it's actually...
A side light will cause that.
Yeah, well, the picture's not being taken from the side, is it? It's being taken head on, isn't it?
No. The lens in front,
yeah.
The light on the side,
right,
will cause that occipital bone, I believe it's called, to appear sunken.
Just like lights on the side of a train car, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
You can take that down, Michelle.
That was in fact in the dark. I had a chef, I had people on either side of me, so I don't see where the light fill is from the side there.
Mr. Depp, if you could wait for the next question. Next question.
Next question.
Sorry.
Even the picture your team chose to show you on that train isn't accurate, is it? Let's pull up
Objection calls for speculation.
Let's pull up exhibit 1859, please. Mr. Depp, this is the same picture, or the same, the exact same scene displayed in PX 162 that you looked at this morning, correct?
That looks like my face has been, the eyes have been photoshopped.
This is the exact same picture, isn't it, Mr. Depp?
With radically different quality.
Mr. Depp, you had that, whatever mark it is, whether it's a sunburn, whether it's a shadow, whether it's the light reflecting, you had that same mark on your eye before you got on that train.
Well, it's pretty difficult to get a sunburn on a train. And in
let's
the
go to
photographs with the child, I don't look particularly sunburned. Can we see those again?
Mr. Depp, what, if any, injuries do you see on your face in this photograph?
I see pretty much the same. I see that the area in here has been is swollen, and yeah, there's a bit of a shiner there.
1st of July 2015, Depp was able to sleep and had messaged Debbie expressing how grateful he was for it. This is very indicative of the same thing that happened with the leaks. He's most likely trying to do the same thing again, staying up to not upset her or anything like that. It's likely this is repeating again in order to say, you know what, let me show you that I care. A few hours later went on to express that Amber makes him feel like he can't do anything right. They cannot have a conversation without a blow up. It goes on to state that Depp agrees with Debbie that both of them should take a break from one another. And this is an important sidebar here. The same way it says in Australia, he had to escape to 5 different bathrooms and bedrooms. Of course, that was for the first Australia. So there were more strategies being implemented where he would, as you can hear in the audio, there was fights in numerous cities, Toronto, Venice, and France, specifically Toronto, because they reference that a lot. He would designate different rooms. So this would allude back to Dr. Blaustein's idea of having safe zones. We are seeing an implementation of strategies in order to deal with this situation he is in. When you inspect these notes, you get to understand and equalizes what was really going on and how there has been an escalation of violence, because he did not implement any of this, by the way. He did not implement these zones or anything like that after Blaustein gave these ideas to him. This would be suggesting that it wasn't as bad as it is now, or he didn't feel it was as bad as it is now, because that was all the way back in 2014. We have had time to see the escalation. We have had time to see him losing his finger. We have had time to see him taking precautions outside of that. We've had time to see the staircase incident play out, but the strategies were not implemented then, because again, those were in front of witnesses, and it wasn't like Australia where he was really in fear for his life. He is chronically mentioning that particular incident for their being in need for separation. With all that context, we go back to the external evidence. On the 1st of July, that's when Depp messages Dr. Kipper. We've already been through that. Also, most importantly, contextualizes why he would have such a strong detest to that, because as noted with Dr. Cowan, both of them already were at disagreement, and she alleged to Dr. Cowan the idea that he's of the wagon. Again, Depp has said no, this is not the case at all, and it's not based in reality. And it goes back to the VA case as well as the UK case, that Amber Heard would say he would use the word monster to describe him off the rails, which is fine, but also when he was pretty much sober, she would also use against him. All this context with Dr. Cowan's note of Amber going in to see him, she doesn't use the monster here to say to Dr. Cowan he's being a monster, etc., but she uses it on him the same way he has said on the stand. On the 8th of July 2015, Dr. Cowan notes the relationship continues through the typical conflict and the typical cycle of conflict. And it also notes here that one chronic unintelligible word there, Jace continues drug abuse. These issues is aggravated by downers and stems from both sides, making efforts to keep Amber as calm as possible. So, anyway, moving on. But on the 27th of July 2015, this would be around the time of this Bangkok incident. Her diary reads as follows: that they fell asleep and she recounted that his shirt was wrapped around her neck and doesn't know how she had the knot on the back of her head based on this diary entry. I don't have anything to refute. Forget about whether Depp had a black eye or not, but look at her face, look at her neck. On the 19th of August 2015, Cowan notes that Depp was threatened by an actor Amber Heard is doing a film with. She was encouraged to be transparent with him. Amber reports back that it didn't go well, that she didn't insult, angry, call names. Interestingly, she reports throwing jabs, and here, as him a therapist, he doesn't really, maybe he sees or distinguishes the difference between physical violence and emotional abuse. So how does she deliver or describe this violence to Cowan? Because it seems here that she's finally reporting an incident actually happening, but again, physical violence is not clear whether it's being reported or not. So it does make me question, how does she report to Bonnie Jacobs that would have suggested to her that all those instances were of domestic violence or of DV? How was she reporting that? Based on all of these facts, it's just a massive contrast to the same month where he was patting himself on the back for how he was doing good, etc., that he would just break into this kind of mode, and there is no record of it whatsoever. There's actually no record of there being a relapse or anything like that. Yeah, that's something that really stuck out to me. For this specific Chateau incident, it's just more likely and more indicative that there was a fight, but it was most likely Jane Falcon was just back in the scene. with that limited knowledge, I'll just take on that was the main reason for the fight. But in terms of it escalating to physical abuse, etc., especially now that he starts having security guards intervene, we have seen that from March until now, because that's what she was complaining about.
Johnny would often use the fact that his paid employees, his loyal staff, would back him up in fights. He would constantly threaten to call them in to validate him. They threatened to call them to come into the room to have them back up him and say that my yelling or that I'm at fault, that I'm in the wrong.
The fact in the audios where they're referencing these fights that happened for that specific year, they didn't go into 2014, etc., all those things, except for the plane incident. They were only referencing fights from 2015.
Let it go, and then it comes up, a fight comes up, instigated by the same patterns, me getting mad at you about something and you getting mad at me about something. And then all this comes up from all the fights. Why can't we just be humble enough to say, oh, I'm sorry when we up? Why is it like this?
I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I'd love to be. If I'm not being now, I would love to be.
It takes humility, and I know I'm the only person that holds you accountable really in your life in an overt way. But if you're late or you off and you ignore me and I'm waiting on you, it's rude and it makes me feel bad, and I have to be able to say it. And yesterday I'm really sorry for how I reacted, but that was me not knowing how to have a normal fight with that could have been normal. It's that's normal, no? A normal couple thing. It could have been small, like you said earlier.
It could have been 2 seconds.
Yes, but me not imagining that you could give it that or allow it to be made me. I took an Ambien so I'd fall asleep before I'd be touched by you and have to confront it. I tried to, read and calm down. I tried to not talk about it because I just could not imagine it working, where you could just hear it and say, I'm sorry, and also know that that's an issue you have. I couldn't imagine it. And so it came out really bad. It came out poorly. I handled it poorly. By the time we talked, I was already seething. And then I reacted like a person that has been hurt over many, many fights and holding on to probably some things without knowing it. And I reacted because I thought, F it. I don't want Toronto. I don't want to be the person that sits there and says, I love you, while someone's looking at you in the eye and telling you that no one likes you and that they don't like you anymore and they don't love you and you're ugly and all that. I didn't want to be the one that did that. I didn't want to take the high road. And I want us to both move. If it feels one of us can't do it. We need to both do it. Otherwise, one of us is just getting hurt. Like Toronto was a punching bag. I just heard every mean thing, and all I was doing was saying stop. And I got so up.
I understand. I mean,
I don't want to
Toronto to you was the plane ride to me. And you're not going to unhear that. You can forgive me for it if you can. But you'll never unhear that. And I'll never unhear the Harry. So, ultimately, is that important? No. In the big picture. We should be bigger now. We should find a way. And we do both need work. I'm not saying I don't. Both need to work on it.
And if you run away the first time you try to anytime that there's a problem, you run away and you make it worse and you act like there's some hierarchy, some self-righteous thing that you're just doing the big thing, the honorable thing, and walking away. You know what? I believe that horse. If you actually had ever done this, I need to cool down. I'm walking away. I'm not walking away from you. I want to work this out. Just give me an hour. If you ever actually did it responsibly, I'd say, yeah, you're right. You're being the bigger person. That's not the case. You're away. And there's a difference. Every time you get fucking stressed, every time I'm picking on you by
Because I
having
didn't
a
have
problem
enough
with you.
time to get those words in with you, clearly on tape, but like just haranguing and not giving me a second to tape. So I could easily say, hey,
Yeah.
I need, you know.
You could try. I don't think you've ever tried. I can't hear it when you're running away. I'm not trying to be insulting. I cannot talk to you. I cannot work it out. You can never work anything out when you do that. It perpetuates it. It makes it.
You are perpetuating it and
Why am I always
right now.
Why am I always the one knocking on the door saying, let's stop this? That's not me. That's not me perpetuating. That's me trying to be the bigger person.
Cucumber in this fight. I have tried. I have said I'm sorry. I've said I want to everything. I want to go to a shrink or whatever. I've said everything. I've said, yeah, I'm wrong here, yeah, I'm wrong there. But listen.
No, you're not. I'm like, I am. In fact, you can't decide if I say sorry too much or too little. Because I feel like you also criticized me for saying sorry too much. I apologize profusely for yesterday.
I didn't say too much. I just said, I'm sorry. The go-to thing.
It wasn't a go-to thing. I meant it.
It will become meaningless unless we say, look, here's what I was thinking. Did I f*** up? And then you say, yes, you did f*** up and it made me feel this. And then, I'm sorry. I'm really fucking sorry. But that requires some type of cool head.
Yes, and neither of us really have that, but at least I can calm down. At least I cool down. You don't have a cool head. You have it right now, but you can't be on Xanax all the time. You definitely need it today. You can't be on it all the time. You know what I mean? You're going to have that temper back. That makes you not as calm as you are right now.
My medicine taking. I will take.
I'm not good. Zero judgment. You need to pump the brakes on actually thinking that I'm judging just because I made a statement. I am not. There is zero judgment. I even added. You can't, but you don't take it all the time. So, but my point is, if you're calm right now, that's great and it's wonderful and you need to be. And I'm really glad you took the Xanax to help you calm down. But you can't be calm all the time. I mean, you can't be on Xanax all the time. That will help kind of keep you calm. Or maybe you are. I don't know. But it was not a judgment. That was not judgment.
No.
I own what I say. I say what I don't need anyone, you or anyone, putting words in my goddamn mouth. I mean what I say. Do you hear me? I mean what I say. I say what I mean. And you're not going to sit here and change it for me. I'm just sick and tired. And you're telling me all the time what I actually said and what I meant. I tell you what I mean. I had no judgment on that. That is your projection. That's you putting that shit on me. There is zero judgment there.
I bring it up.
It matters because it factors in, because it's relevant. I don't know, many of those things.
Didn't you earlier go get a propanol?
Yes, I have Panadol right here. What does that change? It changes how you react to stimuli. It keeps you calmer.
Right, remember what does a propanol do?
It's supposed to slow your heart rate down. It has absolutely no psychological. No, it does not. It has zero psychological effect whatsoever. It reacts physically to the mechanisms in your brain that control your heart. That's it. It does not make me less upset. Clearly, it does not make you. It does not affect you psychologically. It is a fact. You should fucking know. It does not make you fucking calm, as you can clearly see.
If you have to go and make a fucking speech, or if you have to do this or that makes you nervous, propanolol is what they give you. Propanolol is what they give you.
No doubt.
Okay? So that's what it's for.
Thank you! I'm so glad we're talking about
It
this.
is for stress.
It does not affect you psychologically. I fucked up last night. I'm not going to defend myself. But I also can't blame me going to the finish line when that's always where you drive it. You know?
But you're saying you thought you were sure I was going to split.
Always. I mean, that's just...
Why would I split if
You-
I'm laying in the bed with
Because
you?
any
watching
fight,
television?
anytime I tell you that I'm unhappy with anything, and it's typically the same thing, anytime my voice a complaint, I'm not allowed to have a complaint. I'm not allowed to think anything wrong. I've told you this 1,000 times. 1,000 times I've said this to you, in calm and in fights. Baby, I don't feel like I'm allowed to just have a complaint, and you aren't allowing me the luxury of us just being normal human couples. Like, as soon as you get mad, you take off on a train. Remember, I even asked you, is it about Adderall? Are you doing too much? I know it makes one edgy. It makes one, like, temperamental. Could it be too much? Like, what is it? The alcohol doesn't seem like it unless it's like in Toronto where it just became that. But in general, it hasn't been a problem so much. So I don't know what changed. I mean, I'm sure it's something, because it's not, it's chemical, it's strong. It's one day you were different,
It's the same.
and it hasn't been back.
It's the same changes that are happening in you. It's exactly the same.
I wish.
Huh?
I really wish that was the case.
That is the
I have always allowed you to be a human. I've always been able to have a communication with you. The difference is you make it so we cannot even communicate at all if it's anything negative. You go, you take off on a train, you don't get off. You don't calm down. You don't come back around. You don't honor when you say, I just want a few minutes or I want a little time, but I'll be back. You don't assuage the anxiety and the stress that gives me and makes things worse with me by saying, hey, we will, remember Kipper was like, you have to say, I will be back in this amount of time, more or less, and then actually honor it. You have to come back. So I said, oh my God, if he could do that, that would be great. And you never do it. You know, you don't ever honor that. You leave me with way more anxiety, stress, anger, and resentment. But in Australia, for a few months, you were so...
So for you, it makes a difference.
I
I wasn't being attacked.
am that. I have not attacked you any different. I haven't changed. I have not attacked you any different. I never attacked you. I never attack you. Just because I have a complaint with something you did is not an attack,
It becomes
baby.
verbally insulting. It becomes
At
all
what
kinds
point?
of shit. It becomes like
At the very beginning.
get-go, yeah.
See, that's the problem. If you see any criticism as a verbal assault, of course we have this problem. We're going to have it next time you do. God forbid I have a problem with something you do. We're going to be in this situation.
Say it
Are you
nice.
ready for it?
Say it nice.
What if I'm hurt? Am I not allowed to be hurt and be human? That's the thing. You're not allowing me to be human then. You take my humanity
You're
from me.
talking
You're
about-
telling me I'm not allowed to feel
You're
things
talking-
and I'm not allowed to react because to protect you.
Last night happened because I was at Isaac's for too long. Next door.
It happened because we could not
And
communicate.
for what? For what? What did we gain from this fight? From me just, the horrible act of me being over at Isaac's for just too long.
I did not
for you.
cause this because you were at Isaac's. You lie to yourself. Go ahead. You're just lying to
Then
yourself.
why were you upset last night?
This did not happen because of Isaac's. This happened because we're fighting. This is not about Isaac's. We actually haven't really even talked about that. We spent 2 seconds on it because it's not about that. It's bigger than that. The point is I voiced a complaint. It could be anything. It could say, baby, you did something to hurt me. Which you did, and you admitted.
Why didn't you say that?
You admitted that you would feel that way too, and
Yes.
you said sorry for it. That would have been great, but I could not feel safe saying that to you because I knew that your reaction would very likely be a defensive explosion and an attack and freak out and get up and walk away and all this stuff. So I wanted to avoid it. So I took an Ambien to try and go to sleep without even having to speak to you about it because I was really hurt that you fucking left me stranded. You didn't think about me. You didn't text me. All the things that you apologized for. You already apologized for it. Can you do me one small favor and not take it back?
back.
Thank you. Stop defending it, please. You already apologized for it. It meant a lot to me. Do me one favor today. Don't take that back.